What is up, winning team? I am here to present to you yet another one of my theories. And yes, I'm amongst the trees. They're all losing their leaves. And I'm going to go and sit down. I'm going to go find somewhere to sit down to talk because I want to discuss why I believe. I have a theory that the Bible was actually written for men. Okay? It was written for the men. And I'm going to tell you why. It all goes back to Genesis. And I just reread it just now because I was like, God, after my question to the Lord just now, I knew I was going to film this now, right? But my question to God was like, sorry, it looks absolutely gorgeous behind me. Absolutely gorgeous. See how they're cutting all the trees down? Can you tell? Anyway, we won't get into that. I was saying to God, I was like, after they ate the fruit, right? My question was, God, who did you speak to first? Like, who did God go to first? Because I already said from the beginning, I've said in other videos that when God gave the instruction about not eating the fruit, he gave it to Adam when Adam was by himself, okay? They're really cutting everything down. This is so sad. This is crazy. And I like to think about the things of God while I'm out in nature because then it makes me think about the garden, ironically. So that's why I'm like, this is not what I feel like the Lord meant when he told Adam to tend to the garden. Just kill everything. Anyway, so he gave the instruction about the fruit. If you eat from this fruit, the fruit of this tree, you shall surely die. When Adam, before Eve was even created. And I feel like it's because God knew what he was about to create. And he knew that they weren't going to be trustworthy. Now, you might ask why I say that, okay? First of all, I do think being a woman, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we are the most powerful thing, to be honest with you. Because I know I say a lot of stuff that's like, why would I go out of my way to say this on the internet? Because I'm going to make myself look heinous. But I'm just being honest about my nature as a woman. I've done enough self-assessment and also assessment of my peers. It's not possible for a man to have control over us to the degree that we can have control over them. It's not possible. That's why I said a man could never be my enemy, because they're just not capable. They're just not control of themselves in control of themselves enough to be able to do that. Right? So God did a crazy thing by creating women. I'm not going to lie to you, but I get it, because we both have our place and how everything functions and how everything works, and I do think, how the Bible says it's not good for a man to be alone. I do believe that's true. I don't think it's good for men to be by themselves. And again, that's another thing that's different as a woman. Us women, I feel like, deal with being alone way better than the men do. I'll be honest. So anyway, so he gave the instruction to Adam before Eve was created, and I feel like that was done on purpose, because it was like, while you're here with your mind in its best place, with yourself, with your best just judgment, you know what I mean, while we're clear of mind and whatnot, here is the instruction, right? If you eat from this tree, you shall surely die. You need to just like he was saying to him, watch over the garden and keep it, watch over it, watch to see what's happening in the garden, right? Because I believe God was kind of, whether he didn't say this, I don't know if he said it to Adam, I don't know what the depths of their conversations were, but it's like, look, there are going to be things that are going to come and get in between what we've got going on here, and I'm giving you the responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen, which is the same reason why I feel like the Bible's written for men, which is the same reason I feel like the devil's using Jezebel to try and create weak men in the world and do everything against the straight man. Because I've been saying to you guys that in my generation, I can't speak for all generations, but I can speak for mine. In my generation, I really truly don't think, and the statement I'm about to say includes the millennials, I don't think understand the degree to which the hatred of men is with women of my age group. I don't think you guys understand the degree of hatred of straight men in my age group. You guys don't understand. That is the number one most isolating thing for me amongst women. Number one, the fact that I don't jump on board every time someone's like, oh, men, we hate them. I don't necessarily feel like we love all of them. I love the few that are the sons of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But like there's a hate train going on, and I feel like this is all a part of it. So this is what brought me to the idea of like, I believe the Bible's written for men, because why would so much be written and he, the pronouns, right? We talk so much about pronouns now. And like being a woman, it made me think, you know what? Men have this thing that I personally don't have. And that is what I would describe as a sense of responsibility. Like any man who is actually a real man, in my humble opinion, they all have a sense of responsibility, like to their families, to their communities, to the world, to the people. It's like it's a sense of this like responsibility. Like it's one of those things where I've been in situations where I just noticed that in general, even just when I'm out and about in life in general, I find that they always are trying to do, be helpful, be courteous, support everybody, help everybody. They just have this sense of responsibility, which I'll admit I don't have. I feel like as women, we're more like, once we've made the choice that we've decided to participate in a particular situation, then we give it our all. And of course, we're an absolute asset. But I feel like we're more inclined to be selfish. I've said this before. I feel like we're more inclined to be selfish. That's the truth. It is the truth. I believe that, right? And again, I feel like there's not necessarily a bad thing, because I often find with a lot of men, I think you're too kind. Majority of the time, I think they're way too kind. They're way too open. They're way too trusting. Almost like what I think about children, which is again why I think we're the most powerful as women, because we're like the most naturally trusted, but we're actually the most heinous if we want to be. So anyway, this is the bit that sealed the deal on this whole topic for me, and why I was like, okay, we're definitely recording this video right now. So I went to check. So what did God say after they've done all the eating the fruit malarkey? And I've discussed all of this in my book. I'm going to have to do a second book now about the same thing, about my law of entropy, because I told you guys, I believe entropy started in the Garden of Eden, right? And again, it's funny how everybody talks all about Eve. And this isn't a male versus female thing, by the way. This is a God's plan versus not God's plan thing. So it's not about gender. Everything I'm saying, although I'm making it about gender, it's not about the genders. And I'm not villainizing the men and saying the men are more to blame or the women are more to blame. What I'm saying is, I believe God had organized things in such a way that if things had gone the way he had intended, that would be for the betterment. That would be for the better. And everybody had their weaknesses, all is discussed in my book, The End of the Beginning. Anyway, so I went to Genesis to check who God called out to, because we know that Adam and Eve went and hid after they ate the fruit and they realized they were naked, right? They went and hid. So when they went to hide, I asked to the Lord, I was like, God, who did you speak to first? Like I asked him directly first, and then I went to check if the Bible was going to have an answer. And in Genesis chapter 3, verse 9, it says, and God called to the person I left responsible. And I truly believe that when it comes to the scriptures and everything that's written in the Bible, I believe God gave it to the men, because I feel like men are more inclined to actually have this like the framework and stick to it, just because that's one of those things I've realized in all the conversations I've had with men over the years, right? I'm like, these guys are like, I was talking in a video yesterday about how much I hate routine. I hate just following the rules. I hate just having a regiment. And I feel like part of the reason a lot of, say, non-traditionally national Muslim people in this country, as in people that are maybe British or come from countries that are not necessarily traditionally Muslim, I believe that's why a lot of men here go to Islam. Like, this is why I believe they do it, because it gives them a framework. It gives them something. Like, I have a friend, like a male friend who, and he's Muslim. Yeah. He's, and it bewilders me, right? Because everything about me is very British, like very kind of British in nature, like, grew up in like, whatever. But he is diehard Muslim. And it's one of those things that part of the reason I honestly enjoy talking with him is because I'm trying to wrap my head around because our beliefs are not very different. Like, our beliefs are pretty much the exact same, but he is a Muslim and I am Christian. So I'm like, there's something in that, like, about it, but I can kind of see it, because also he's the guy who wakes up every morning, has his coffee while he reads the newspaper, goes to work, he starts at 7, goes to a second job, whatever, comes home, goes to sleep, does it again. And he just does it like clockwork. He's saving up for his future. He wants to get married. He wants to have a family. Everything for him is about family. I'm like, what the freaking hell is going on? Like, because I can't relate to that. In my head, I'm not thinking, like, I'll be so real. And it's not because of my, you know, my experiences. Like, I do think about things like having a family and whatever, and it would be nice to have kids, whatever. But like, I'm more thinking, I can't wait to throw a concert like in the forest one day, and I can't wait to throw the biggest party that anybody's ever seen. And like, I'm thinking about all these other things. Like, those things are not a priority, and those things are things that I kind of will do because obviously I have a womb. Like, this is what I'm saying about the attitude difference. It's like, well, I have a womb, so And you know what? I love me. I love the men, but not necessarily because of all these other things. Like, you know, the things that they do, which I appreciate. I think it's really sweet. It's more that I like the idea of, you know, it's like, you mean that we get to have one of these delicious, delectable looking specimen that you created, Lord? That is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not like, it's not the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? And, you know, and obviously from that standpoint, then it's like, well, of course you would look after somebody that you just, you know, and of course you would look after them then. But I don't give a crap about everybody else. I don't give a crap. Like, that's one of the things I've been realizing about myself, is that I really, truly don't care about the community at large. Like, the world could burn. I don't care. I'll burn with it. And I kind of feel like that's a more of a female thing, you know what I mean, to do. And this is, again, why I feel like, you know, it's more men who are like, we're going to go to war for the country. I'm like, let the country burn, to be honest with you. Like, let it burn. Don't care. Like, literally don't care. I care about protecting my own and my own people. So that's it. Everybody else, don't really care. Like, and I know that sounds horrible. I'm just being honest, because I feel like somebody has to say it. And I feel like I'll say this. I feel like I'm the most naturally female, natural woman of a lot of women, because I'm not on birth control. I'm not taking all these pharmaceuticals. I'm young enough that I'm still, you know, in the childbearing ages of where my hormones still work to like create babies and all of this. So, you know, in comparison with the world, I feel like I'm the most on the, and also obviously being a child of the Lord, I feel like I'm the most closest to I'm probably one of the closest to what an actual natural woman is. And I've told you guys this birth control thing is a big thing, because once I came off birth control, so many things changed about me as a result of coming off of birth control. Anyway, especially the types of men I was into, my priorities in life, all of that changed as of coming off of birth control. So it's been like, how many years has it been off now? Like 6. And I was put on it when I was 16. So I feel like I'm curious to know what would have been different about me even when I was younger. Because funny enough, when I was 16, do you know what I wanted to do when I was 16? Well, when I was 16, my biggest goal in life was to be married and have 9 children, 9 of them. I wanted to have 5 and adopt 4. Anyway, so these are the things. So anyway, so I've been thinking about the Bible, right? Because obviously I read it a lot, and like I've read a lot of it, and like, well, I've read all of it, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like, reading the Bible doesn't mean anything because you have to have the Holy Spirit giving you wisdom. So you could read the Bible 100 times and it could be equivalent to nothing. That's why I'm like, I've read the Bible, but I haven't really read the Bible, because I've read the whole Bible, but I haven't really read the whole Bible, because it's not possible anyways, given the time amount, obviously courtesy of entropy, the amount of time I'm going to be alive and the amount of wisdom that's in the Bible. It's not possible for me to understand all the wisdom that's in the Bible. So I'm never going to get all the wisdom of the Bible in the time that I'm alive. So that's why I'm saying that. But anyway, so yeah, so I started thinking about it, like, as I read the Bible, and it's always the he, him, except from in the book of Proverbs, where it's she when it's talking about wisdom. And I've said this before, that I feel like God placed his 2 different types of intelligence in men and women. Like, men are very knowledgeable, right? And I feel like us women, we have wisdom, hence why we're so good at being wicked, you know, if we want to be, but also angels if we want to be, because they're like, men like draw the lines, and we like color the lines, but we have to color inside the lines. Going back to what was happening with Adam and Eve, going back to why I feel like the Bible's written for men, going back to why I believe God says that men are the head of the household. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, you have to, because even myself, like, honestly, if I was left to my own devices, the things I would do, the fact that I have the Lord anchoring me down, it's kind of annoying a little bit, but I also love it because it keeps me on the straight and narrow. And honestly, I'm going to do way better things in my life than I would. Because like I said, if it was up to me, like me and my nature now, knowing all I know about the Bible, knowing all I know about the world, knowing everything, if it were up to me and I was not in submission to God, right? To hell with everything. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Let the world burn. I'm going to enjoy myself until the moment that I die, and I'm going to just, like go crazy. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. God's honest truth. That's exactly what I would do. The only reason I'm here trying to do the right thing and try to get my life together and try to do something meaningful and all this is because of the Lord and because I'm in love with him. And, and that's a woman thing where it's like, oh, if you're in love with somebody, it's like, oh gosh, I guess I have to support absolutely everything you're doing then now, don't I? I guess I'm going to have to do that because now I'm in love. Which is why it's a weakness as a woman, and I do see it as a weakness. I do see being in love as a woman as a weakness. I do see it because it's the same weakness that men have in their infatuation and they're like getting lost in the sauce, and then that means that they do absolutely everything for you, and it's actually crazy. And it's so sweet though. It's actually really wholesome. It actually creates balance when done the right way. But yeah, and also the other thing I'm thinking as well is, can I be so honest? Let them have it. Like, let them control everything. Let them have it. Let them have the patriarchy. Let them take all the responsibility, because guess what? That means I don't have to be held accountable on Judgment Day, because the Lord is going to hold them accountable. The Lord is going to hold them accountable. Do you think that God isn't going to hold Adam accountable? Like, bruh, before you even knew what woman was, before you even knew, right? Did I not tell you? Did I not entrust you? Similar with the serpent. It's like, bro, what the freak was the serpent doing in your garden? In the garden that I placed you in? What the hell? What the helly on? Like, I literally trusted you. So this is why I'm also just in favor. I'm like, hey, Lord, if this is what you're really saying, let them have it. Let them have all the power. Let them have it. Let them make the decisions. Let them do it. It's it's like in the sperm, right? The sperm has the XY chromosome, and us as women, we only have XX. So again, even on a biological level, they are the deciders. Let them decide. Let them decide. Let them do their thing. Because can I tell you something? I've been too spoiled. I feel like, I guess that's the problem now. I've been too spoiled by the Lord, and I've been too spoiled by the male department, where it's kind of like, well, you know what? They want to do all this so badly. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let them have it. No, but on a serious note as well, yeah. On a very serious note, also, I do believe that's how God intended it, because like looking at myself, the closer I get to the Lord, I genuinely thought the closer I get to God, the more I'm going to be a stickler. The more I'm going to be a stickler, the more I'm going to want to just like follow the rules and stay still and stay whatever. But I feel like the exact opposite. I feel like the closer I get to the Lord, the more I realize that I'm walking in freedom, the more I understand that I'm saved through faith alone. The more my flesh is just tempting me to do things I should not be doing, like in life, in general. I'm just like, sign me up to absolutely everything that I shouldn't be getting up to. You know what I mean? I'm more, and it's not, and I feel like it's because I'm becoming more like, because a lot of society, women, we become very masculine. Like we become a lot more like men, especially my generation. So we're very like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do this. We become like them, and that kind of makes us more tame, if you will. Because men are actually more tame. Can I just say, men are actually pretty tame. I find men to be pretty tame in general. You know what I mean? I mean, they all have their little things but they're all like very specific in their little categories. I feel like that's why it's also more natural. This is one of the reasons I feel like it's so easy to get a lot of us, the women, especially my generation, there's this whole thing of, oh, we hate the straight men. And as soon as you go for a bad experience with a man, we all become lesbian. Why doesn't that happen with men? Well, because they're not just so quick to just be kind of as everything is everything and anything is anything with them, because if they're a straight man, they're a straight man, you know what I mean? And then like real straight men, there's no blurred line there, if that makes sense. There's no blurred line. That's the easiest way to irritate a man, a straight man, is to accuse him of doing anything that's gay. And it's quite funny because I wouldn't personally be offended, but that's because I'm a woman. And anyways, we already do things that they don't do. You know what I mean? A lot of lines that are blurred that are not gay for us, obviously, as women. But obviously, you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say here. So I'm just saying a lot, and I really shouldn't upload this video. I hate talking about the dynamics between men and women. This is the one topic I was like, God, please never make me have to talk about this. But now here we are. And I know I have to, because this is where it all goes back to, because it all goes back to Adam and Eve. And it all goes back to this. And this is why I feel like Jezebel is being used in the church, because Jezebel is coming in to weaken the men of God, right? And to control them so that they're not effective for the kingdom. Because if they were effective, like, think about it, we follow Christ. Christ is who we are supposed to follow, and Christ exuded the exact opposite of how a lot of men are today. You know what I mean? He was powerful, he was masculine, he had self-control, he was patient, he was loving, he was, you know what I mean, he was calm, he was intelligent. He knew himself, and he was in control of himself. Like, when he needed to go off and have some time by himself with the Lord, he did. He had faith in the Lord. He sacrificed himself. He didn't let all the things that he went through phase him and bring him off the mission that he was set out to do. Like, you know what I mean? He was focused, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. I feel like men are supposed to be the ones who are supposed to stay focused, right? Because I don't feel like we are going to stay focused. That's the whole point. Like, because of course we're gonna entertain a serpent, because by nature, we're gonna want to hear everybody out and hear someone's perspective. It's more of a male characteristic to say, well, this is what was said and this is what needs to happen. It's more of a female thing to go, yeah, I know, but let's just hear them out. And there's appropriate situations for both of those two things to be happening. In the garden, the thing that needed to be done was that God said, whatever happens, listen, if you eat from that tree, you shall surely die. So the decision was, which person were you going to choose to trust in that moment? Was it going to be the snake or the serpent, or was it going to be God, right? That was the big thing. And at that point, that's where it is a black and white choice. You trust God. You trust God. You trust God. He built everything. He did all this for you. Why in the hell would you not then trust God? But then, like I said, that's a female characteristic. But then now Adam got caught up in the thrill of the chase, because of course us as women are the most powerful. Like, let's be honest, we literally bring life into this world. We literally house children. And again, that is where, again, I feel like we are so powerful, because I don't think men could handle being pregnant. Men couldn't handle being pregnant. They couldn't handle a period. They couldn't handle all the things we have to go through, like, as women, like in terms of sacrificing our bodies. You know what I mean? They couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying? At all. Because, I mean, look at them, bless their hearts, we love them, but like, they tend to not do well just with the smallest of littles of ailments. You know what I mean? Us ladies, we just get on in life and we're like, got our body literally feeling like craziness. We've got a whole child growing itself in us, and, you know, all of this, and we can handle that, you know? So that's what I'm saying. We have different things. And I also think the fact that we go through such extreme ups and downs is kind of what creates us. Because I've said this before, that, you know, I feel like part of the reason why, you know, God allows us to have pain in pregnancy, like, I even believe this, like when I had a miscarriage, it's like so that we as women have the emotional connection of understanding what we're really doing. Like, because that's what, for me, it took away from having a miscarriage. It was the most painful experience of my entire existence. For literally weeks, I was in pain, bleeding, right? And I was like, you know what? The way I look at and I value children and the way I value life changed so significantly as a result of that. And it's just something, that's why I feel like it's more inclined that when it does happen, it is easier for men to step away from the family, and for women to always feel like, oh, I have to have my children. Can you guys see how all these things that I'm saying, like, I feel like I can see it because I feel it. Because, like, if you're in your body, every single month we're reminded that our bodies are here for children, and we go through pain, go through struggle, we go through all these different things, boobs swelling, bloating, cramps, waking up in the middle of the night, hot sweats, you know, all these things. And then, you know, obviously pregnancy, which can have, but then again, with pregnancy, here's the other thing that people don't realize. So the placenta obviously is built off of the DNA of the father. Morning sickness is related to the health of the dad. So if you've got a healthier man, a woman is going to experience less morning sickness, because these things are all linked together, because of course you're creating this child together. And so again, it's like, you know, the men have their power in their decisions and what they choose to do and what not choose to do, because that's going to affect how the woman's going to experience her pregnancy and the childbearing and you see. And then they obviously choose the gender because they got the XY. So we don't play a part in that. We're just here. We're just, you know what I mean? So anyway, all to say that all of these things have brought me to the conclusion that the Bible was written for men. That's what I want to say. I believe it was written for men because I believe it, not in the sense that it's not for women, but in the sense that this is who I'm entrusting to make sure that this actually happens. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm giving you the trust to make sure you guys get this done and we stay on course and we stay focused. Yeah, because I'll be honest, I definitely don't stay focused. I definitely wouldn't. With all I know now is that, hey, I've got the Lord. I can go and just do, like, you know what I mean? Like, I care about you guys here at the winning team. Everything that I care about because God cared about me. And then now I feel like after all he's done for me, I have to dedicate myself to him. And I feel like that's how it works. I feel like that's how the male-female dynamic works. Simple and plain. That's why I do think, unpopular opinions perhaps, that I do think men should approach women. I do think they should prove themselves as worthy. I do. Because we have a lot to bring to the table. We're going to be hosting children. We're going to be looking after your dirty ass, you know what I mean? And all this stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Like pitch, give us a good enough pitch, you know what I mean, to make it worthwhile. But then of course the problem we have nowadays is that then after that a lot of women these days are not reciprocating, you know, in full. And that's another problem. And again, like I said, I'm talking about my generation because you guys don't realize, like people just don't realize in older generations, and I'm including the millennials in this, you guys don't realize what's happening down here. You really don't. And especially because I'm the oldest of the generation, but then also because I teach and I hear and I see what's going on amongst the young people. I see how the young boys and the young girls are interacting. It's not good. The young boys are being way too sexualized way too early. They're not able to get themselves onto the track of life that they need to get themselves onto to be able to build the life that they want. The girls are getting too much access to too many things and are just becoming a bit too, just, you know, they realize their power too soon, you know what I mean? And they're taking advantage of it at an early age. So I feel like a lot of people, my generation, right? This is why, you guys, I'm stressed all the time and I've got all this anxiety because I'm looking at my generation. I'm going, oh my gosh, we are literally at a place where everybody is literally like going to, like 10 years from now, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a whole damn mess. And it's a mess for my generation, especially because of the development of technology and people having access to all this information, all these different perspectives, all these different things. And so now we're in a situation where whatever the devil was trying to do in the garden, he can do that times 1,000. Like now, because of modern technology, like especially with younger people at an earlier age. You know what I mean? Bearing in mind that Adam and Eve at least we don't know how old they were. That's a really good point. God, if you ever want, there's so many things I would ask the Lord. And again, what's my favorite thing about my relationship with God? It's just like Eve. It's not the power. It's not the coming against the kingdom of darkness. It's not any of those things. It's obviously us, you know, the experience of us being in love and our, you know, relationship and all our, and how our intimacy and all of that, right? But on a deeper level, but more so, the knowledge. It's the same as Eve. I just love that I get to know so much, and I would give up everything, and I do on a daily basis, forfeit other things in life, including relationships, so that I can get to know more about God, just because I want to know more about everything. And so just the opportunity to know more about everything for me is more valuable than anything else. And that's heinous. That's heinous. But I understand that that's part of how I am as a woman. And it's good because this is why we're such an asset as women, because men are not great investigators. They're not great at a lot of things, bless them. Like I said, I will never see a man as an enemy. They're just not smart enough to be my enemy. They're just not. And that's why every time we have issues as women, their only understanding of it is, oh, it's just this catty behavior, or it's just the women being catty behavior. They don't understand the intertwinings because they can't conceptualize in their brains the depths of the details and the deviousness and the heinousness and the planning and the intricacies of the things that we do as women. They don't understand. They don't. And so that's why they just kind of shovel off our things that we do as if like, oh, this is just women, oh, they're just catty, they're just this, they're just that. Don't get in an argument between women. They always look stunned, like they don't know what's happening. It's really funny. It's like, yeah, this is above your pay grade, buddy. This is above your pay grade. You just go back to building the world, why don't you? And you just let us do the intelligent thinking over here. No, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, that's why I believe that when it came to the book of wisdom, all of a sudden, the Bible being the Logos, the Logos word of God, of course, most of it would be written towards men. When the moment we're talking about wisdom now, right? It's about she. It's a she, because wisdom is in women, I believe. And I believe logic was given to the men because logic overrides wisdom, because wisdom has to be rooted in logic. because if not, wisdom becomes wicked. Wisdom can be wicked or non-wicked, just like and just like how logic is black and white, you know, good or bad. So they have to work together and they have to overlap in the same department, i.e., wisdom for good and logic that is good as well, right? Otherwise, you end up with logic that you end up with illogical thinking, which is what we see in the world, partnered with wicked wisdom, Jezebel. It's like devil and Jezebel, like partnership, if you like, right? Illogical thinking, lies, right? Alongside wicked wisdom, right? So evil, devious behavior. And again, this is why I believe that the biggest attack right now on the body of Christ is the men of God, and has been all along. It all makes sense to me now. It's because this is who God is entrusting. This is who God entrusted to come and run his church. This is why at the very early stages of the church, you guys were currently doing a series about how Protestantism, the origin of the modern church, how we separate from Catholicism, starting all the way back from what had happened from like the 4th century all the way until Martin Luther King. Guys, you need to catch up. I'm going to video the rest of the videos tomorrow on the Sabbath, because I feel like it's just the videos are just going to go hard if I record them on the Sabbath, right? We're recording that in the moment, and we've been talking about all of that. The foundings of the church, right at the foundings of the church, after Peter, Paul, all those guys around, after Jesus died, the very first thing that happened is they end up establishing a pope, which in my opinion is the most demonic character. Martin Luther King in 1502, or 1517, I believe it was in 1517, in his 95 Theses, had said that he believed that the Pope at that time was the Antichrist sent by the devil. This has been a historical thing of the devil attacking the men, because they are the ones who God has entrusted. Because again, like I said, if for me as a woman, if the men stand up and do their job, I will behave. But otherwise, to hell with everything. I'm not going to be the one, because it's not in me. It's not what I was created to do. I was not created with the facilities, nor the temperament, nor the giftings to do what a man is supposed to do, right? So if they don't, and this is one of the reasons why I'm actually depressed, I will tell you guys, is because I'm depressed at the state of men in the world and how powerless they are. This is why all these guys that I've spoken to, they don't have a single chance with me, because I'm like, you're not even a fighting force, a powerful soldier in the Lord's army. So why do I care? I don't care how many properties you own in the world. I don't care how much you want to do this for me and do that for me. I don't care that you're telling me, oh, don't worry. Why are you worrying about work? You don't have to work. Great. That's nice. I don't care that, you're tall and handsome, or I don't care, whatever. Are you a man of God doing the work of God? And this is what bothers me. The number one most thing is that if there was a man that would rise up today, you guys, I would jump, as in a revolution, I would jump behind that without question. I would not hesitate to jump behind that movement. I would not hesitate to dedicate all of my skill sets, all of my skills to that movement. But it can't be me, because I'm a woman. And it wouldn't make any sense for that to happen, mainly because the other men are not really going to get involved if it's me. Anyway, as a woman. Because again, this is how men are. Men need men to lead them. That's the thing. And no wonder we have a modern church that is so feminized, so overwhelmingly feminized. You got people going to church, and it'll be the mums and the grandmas and the kids, and the men aren't going. For me, that's a problem. So yeah, so this is the things that I've been thinking about. So yeah, I do believe, I'll just say it here. I know I'm always saying, as I'm already hated enough, so I may as well just continue the hate train and continue my villain origin story. I do believe the Bible was written for men, and that God entrusted them to be able to do what needs to be done and to stay focused in the midst of everything else. And I do believe us women also, and I'll maybe talk about that in a separate video, are the most powerful. And that's the thing. That's the crazy thing. He gave it to the men to be entrusted, but he gave us the most power. And I believe that's because his intention was that the men would be submitted under Christ. And therefore, if they're submitted under Christ, they're not going to fall to the ways of women. And a lot of men who have issues with women, it's because they were not submitted under Christ once they were dealing with us. They've underestimated our intelligence. They've underestimated what we're capable of. They've underestimated how much more power we have over them than they have over us. Because for them to have power over us, we kind of have to make the choice that we're invested in the situation, and then that power becomes very powerful, of course. The other way around, Men just fall in love very easily as well. That's another thing. That's another story for another day. They fall in love very easily. They're very easy to manipulate. Very, very easy. You know what I mean? And they might make it seem like a lot of things they do, a lot of these wars and things were about certain policies and this and that. But there was a lot of stuff that went down just because of women. That's because it's things to do with women. So yeah. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. That's my theory. I believe the Bible was written for men. They've got he, him pronouns. Why would it be that way? I always say to you guys, when you read the Bible, you should take it for what it is, as it is. So maybe the God just wrote it. Maybe it's been written that way because that's how it was intended, for to be written to men, for men, because that's whatever. We have the book of Proverbs where it's written in the she pronouns, this and that. We talk about wisdom. Like I said, it's kind of like it's a team effort. Either alone isn't good enough. Men by themselves, we end up in Islam. Right, we end up with Islam. So no wonder, like I said, my male friend, no wonder him outside, removing the actual one true living God, removing the aspects of what God of God that he placed inside of women, you are going to find yourself at Islam. But then on the other side, as women, if we go all the way too much to wicked wisdom, we end up just becoming like men, and we also end up finding ourselves off in weird belief systems. And that's why we're all astrologists and we're all witches, like praising being witches and doing all these extra spiritual other things. So, you know, new age, tarot cards and all this stuff, because we end up in mysticism. That's why there has to be the overlap of both. That's why it has to be a group project. You see, it's going to be a team effort, because the team doesn't function without either player in the team. They both have to be there. Otherwise, things are not good, because it literally says that in the Bible. The Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. That's exactly what it says. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes we just got to take the Bible for what it is and what it says it is. And if that's what the Bible says, then that's what the Bible says. And no wonder, like I said, think about it. It's no wonder that the devil is attacking the men of God and weakening them with Jezebel. It's no wonder, because I understand Jezebel, where she's coming from. It's not difficult. It takes a man who is very much strong in the Lord. It would have to take a man who's very strong in the Lord to be able to prevent Jezebel, because the Jezebel will just find whatever woman, she'll be able to just study you and find. This is the thing, what we do as women, we study people and then we give them what they want. That's what we do. That's part of nurturing and loving. You study somebody, you study the person, what are their likes, dislikes, whatever. This is why we're good at looking after people. And then you find out what they want. So we either do that because we love you and want to see you win and thrive and progress and whatever, or we do that because we want to control you. Anyways, you guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.